Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Dephemerember here on Studioloo. You can find more information in my description box below about this fun December ephemera making challenge. So we're on day 23, December 23rd already, and our prompts are altered book page and blackout poetry. So I am very much a fan of blackout poetry. I think it's wonderful how pretty much every page of every book you can find some kind of a hidden poem inside of it, and it's actually something that happens in this miraculous way that I think just about anybody can do. It's really a fun thing. I get very inspired. I have a friend, her name is Zan, and she does a lot of blackout poetry, and I really always quite enjoy the depth and the platitudes of the words and how they seem to just come out of the page. It's interesting. So I've just grabbed my glue book. This is literally the book I glue in all the time. It's on page 201. This is from a book called The Destroying Angel. I used it to make a mushroom journal some time ago, and I'm just going to get started. So my way of doing blackout poetry is to just kind of go through line by line and collect the snippets and verses that speak to me. So I'm going to then outline them with a fine Sharpie, and then do the blackout part with a larger Sharpie. So a drawbridge and a railroad trestle. At the farther end, and I think I like at the farther end as a way to start this, and I can already tell this marker is bye-bye. We'll get a new one. Pardon the arm reach there. Okay. Grab, which of these do I want? I think I want number one. Yeah, one. Okay. Okay. Better at the farther end, and then I just kind of go around it as so, just to create a box of this Tidegate Canal connecting the Great West Bay with the Great Peconic. The leading powerboat was visible, heading out at full speed. At the further end, at full speed, and by the time he had thrown the motor of the Trouble back into its full stride, the half-mile lead was fully established, if not improved upon. At the farther end, at full speed, not improved upon. The tide was setting in through the canal, otherwise the gates had been closed with a strength that taxed Trouble to surpass. It seemed an interminable time. Let's go with it seemed an interminable time. Before the banks slipped behind and the boat picked up her heels anew and swept out over the broad reaches of the Peconic. Let's say swept out over the broad reaches. Like a hound on the trail. The starboard light of the leader was slowly becoming more and more distant as she swung. Again to the eastward. That way, Whitaker figured, with his brows perplexed, lay Shelter Island, Greenport. I'm going to go with to the eastward. Sag Harbor, names only in his understanding, and what else he could not say. Here he found himself in strange waters. I'm going to use that. Here he found himself in strange waters. Knowing no more than that the chase seemed about to penetrate a tangled maze of islands and distorted channels. Let's say a tangled maze of islands and distorted channels, like that a lot. in whose intricacies it should prove a matter of facility to lose a pursuer already well distanced. I'm going to say well distanced. Abandoning the forward wheel in favor of that at the side near the engine pit, for a time he divided his attention between steering and tinkering with the motor. I'm going to say tinkering. With the result that the treble began presently to develop more speed. Slowly, she crept up on the leader. I'm going to say she crept up. With Robin's Island abeam. Though he knew it not by name, I'm going to say abeam. The distance between them had been abridged by half. The distance between more than that she seemed unable to accomplish, he surmised shrewdly. Okay, I'm going to say abridged by half. So I feel like, you know, what we have here on this page is like a story of like, you know, a man struggling here like on a boat, right? Like trying to get through this railroad trestle or something. It's you know, he's trying to get somewhere and he's struggling to get there. So as we moved through this page, I feel like we were building kind of, you know, what the scene looked like we were headed toward, like we were explaining this tumultuous time, and then we were saying sort of where we were going, the direction kind of, and then, you know, we were coming back to the present, to the person, and explaining the emotions or the situation that he was in. We established he, and then, you know, more of his surroundings. And then we have him, you know, trying to right a wrong or trying to do something, and then she appears. So here's the poem that we've been left with. At the farther end, at full speed, not improved upon, it seemed an interminable time swept out over the broad reaches to the eastward. Here he found himself in strange waters, a tangled maze of islands and distorted channels, well distanced. Tinkering, she crept up abeam, the distance between abridged by half. So now it's like we have almost a love story. We have, you know, a man that was kind of, you know, lost in the reaches of something, and then, you know, she finds him, she comes to him, and things begin to make sense again. Like, isn't it weird and cool how that happens? And I'm telling you, literally every book page you come across, you're going to be able to do something like that with. It's very strange, but it's always something I've been a huge fan of. So I'm now going to take this big chunky Sharpie here. This is a chisel tip, big permanent marker, and I'm going to just, you know, take it across the rest of the line. This marker has been used by my daughter, so hopefully it's still gonna work the way I need it to here. Okay, so I'll come across, and then you can decide if you want to fill in the gaps. I like to fill the gaps in, and we'll come across again, because then it doesn't like put you in too much pressure to have to like make it perfect the first time. So first you look at blacking out the words, and then you can come in and fill your gaps in neatly. And you don't have to fill the gaps. That will give you a slightly different look. I see, you know, so much beauty in Blackout poetry. It's kind of interesting, and I think it also is like, you know, every person will do this differently with the same page. I'd love to do an assignment like that where you assigned the same page to like a bunch of writers and see how they came together or didn't come together on their theme. Okay. I'll go right through the middle here. Okay. And it's interesting, so this in itself, you know, altered book page going along with this, to me really, this on its own is altering a book page. But I'm going to give some thought to what I want to do with this, how I want to finish this piece. I'm also going to fill this gap in. Okay. Just be careful as you go in between when you've done a single line there that you don't mess up your words. Getting there, and you obviously need a good marker to do this. This marker is actually my daughter's. She's been using it to create these fun scenes. Like the black is kind of the foreground, and then she does these very colorful skyscapes behind using like masking tape, and she's gotten really into this method of creating art. It's kind of cool. Okay, now this one's a little tighter here, so just kind of do a little extra on this side. Just trying to get a nice like outline. Okay, so there is our Blackout poem. So now I'll take this off of here. And I need to decide how I want to, what I want to do, how do I want to make this be what I want it to be. So first thing I think is I need to create another line above, up here. We'll get rid of offshore, black that all out. And then over here as well. We'll kind of create like a bit of a loose line as to where we plan to cut that out or not. Okay. Then if we think about the altered book page aspect of this, I grabbed like just this cardstock, but I think it might be, yeah, it's a little too thin for this. So I'm going to use this piece of paper that's a scrap printable from something I was doing because I quite like the background. Just kind of winging it right now. I don't have a plan. Okay, so now I'll take this and I want to leave a little bit of the old book page there. So maybe we want that whole marker area, or maybe not. You know what? No, it's going to be too wide if I do. Okay. I kind of like the idea of putting that down on a background like that. And I'm just going to grab a couple things. Okay, so I just grabbed this book that I've been kind of using for a few different projects lately, Edward Wilson's Antarctic Notebooks, and I'm going to take this image out of it because I really like it as a background color rather than this piece of printable that I've got here. I'm going to cover them and I'm going to use it on here. But first I think I want to prop this up a little bit. It needs some strength anyhow. This one is already propped up, but this one most definitely needs to be propped up. So let's go ahead and do that. This is also a really nice way if like you're stuck and you feel like just kind of making ephemera or doing something, but you're not exactly sure what kind of theme you want to work with or what you want to do or whatnot. It's a really nice way to just create a random theme, because I had pulled, before I got started, I had pulled like some supplies that I thought I might use in this project, and one of them was my bag of fussy cut flowers. But you know, now that I have done the poem, I've realized like the flowers don't really fit in, right? So if you want to kind of stretch your brain and have like a project be redefined for you, like this is a nice way to do that, I think. So let's just cut this out. Give it a little press and make sure it's fully down. Then what I would like to do is grab a couple more supplies. Okay, so what I've done is I've grabbed a stencil that I'm going to just lay on top of here. And what I need to do is just be a little careful. I've got my embossing dauber, and just on the black, not on the words, I'm going to do a little bit of embossing. Okay. Just got to be a little mindful here. Okay, perfect. So now we'll put this lid back on. Lift this up. I'm going to use a little bit of embossing glaze. On this end. Oops, a little more needs to come off there. I find the embossing glaze to be quite fine. Okay. And this is Distress Embossing Glaze in Fossilized Amber. And then this is another, this is silver. This is old. This is something else. It's in silver though. So let's see. Hopefully this hasn't dried. I might need to redo it. Oh, it's good. Okay, so there we go. Let's put this away. This is older embossing powder. From the something stamper. It was it was definitely thrifted. It's, yeah, I don't even know what it used to say. That's okay. Let's grab this, bring it over, get the stuff out of the way, and heat gun. Let's see what happens on the black with this yellow and this silver. I may end up going over the yellow again because I think we're going to lose it. Yeah, we are. Okay, no worries. I'll go over it again with silver. I wanted to do the experiment to see. I haven't used glaze on black, so now we know what happens. But look at the silver, right? Isn't that cool? So we will go back over it with silver. Okay. All right, so yeah, let's just do the silver on the other edge there. All good. Nobody was hurt in the making of this piece. You got to do experiments. Okay, let's just go back in. I'll get that paper back because it's a nice big paper for doing this on. And then there's no mess, and that's good. Okay. Batter. This. Always put all your lids back on when you're embossing. Let's get rid of any extra. And then I'm just going to come in here and make sure for sure that I don't have any on my words, because I think I have a little titch right here. There we go. Okay, back to embossing. Okay, so that's a little neater, a little nicer in the Blackout poetry than just the plain black marker, I think. Kind of kicks it up a notch. Now, move this stuff out of the way, and we are going to tear this out. A little smaller than what we have. So really, you know, we're altering a book page in many different ways here. This is a book page too. So I'm going to put this on here as my background. And I'm going to need to decide how big I want this to be. So I think first I will glue this right on here. And I'm not going to worry too hard about super gluing it down because I might want to stitch it, I think. But we'll see. Yeah, I think I do. So I'm going to put this here. Let's kind of give it a press. And I think I will go stitch this now, actually. Okay, so we have this attached on here. Now, I did grab this little label here. This is cut from a really old book. So yet again, we are, you know, modifying a book. I think I just want to put that right under it. I don't know why. I just quite like how it looks. Sorry, I have the grittiest voice today. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to plunk that right there. Okay. Then I'm going to do some cutting here to trim this to the size I want it to be. So I want to leave a little on top because I've got a bit of an idea for what I want to do. Let me see. There. Was that straight? Hold on. Yes, okay. A little more there. Okay, we'll go here. That's what we want. Perfect. Okay. So let's set this aside. I have this little die that I've been wanting to test out, and it's kind of fun to do something with it. I also have this cool piece of plastic. I'm wondering if my die machine, if it could cut that. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so I finished up my die cutting. So here we have the paper. And then this wouldn't cut, but it certainly did impress. So this is something to know, right? You can do this with a die cutting machine, even if you can't cut it. If you had a really pretty pattern, you could impress it in here. So I am going to make use of this still. I need to match up where this goes. I just kind of cut around it. So I'm just going to cut it in the middle because I don't want double the bulkiness there. And then I think what I'll do is add this right on here. And then probably do this like that. But first we have to back it because that'll give it a really nice, you know, look. And it's again altering book page. So let's get that all sorted. First we have to back this because it is just on regular old paper here. And I am going to stitch around it again. So I'll back this on folder here. Cut this because it's a little hard to tear that it's got this glued on it. Okay, so let's just give it a press down. So this one, yeah, this one. So we'll line these sides up here, like so. Lay that there. Bring it down a little bit more. I just don't want it to touch the poem. I just want it to sit sort of ever so slightly off the poem. That could even shift a little that way. That might look kind of neat. But I think to do that we need to cut that and lay that down. Yeah, that's cute. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm going to go around this whole thing again with stitching. So I'll be right back. I might actually take these tabs off afterward. I feel like those two little tabs here, they're just not really needed. Okay, so this has been stitched around, but I figured we were going to have a little complication, and it's that the delicateness of this paper, I didn't glue it. See the green there? We lost some of the little bits of the paper. No fear. I had sort of accounted for this before getting started. So what I'm going to do first is just kind of glue down the green. And then I've got reinforcements. So we're going to make this all happy in the end. So just put some art glitter glue down. Don't stress if the glue is visible because it will be gone when it dries. So we'll glue down what we have left here. Then I also did cut a couple more of these. They are here. There's actually two of them. So I can pull those apart. And there we go. So see, we have more leaves I can use here. So what I'll do is I'll just cut this off here. And then I will glue this first. Just all the little tendrils of leaves here. We may only need one of these to just kind of fill in the gap, but I made a few in case. These really delicate die cuts are not, designed for paper. Well, really no die cuts are designed for this kind of book page paper. So now we'll just put that up on here. Oops, and then bring this down. Yeah, I think that's all we need, because then we'll get a little bit of the green and we won't block out all of that fun iridescent plastic. Now I'm just going to come up here, and like I said, I don't think I need those. Those can go. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of ink, just black soot, and I'm just going to ink this book page up here. And it's funny because this says, "Earth seemed to billow about him, a numbing faintness." I'm just going to leave that there. I'm just going to gently kind of ink on this a little, and then around the edge here, to just get rid of the white space on the edge. Okay, then we have this at the back. I'll probably just ink that up a little bit to secure it down. Or not ink, sorry, glue. Just use art glitter glue and you can kind of just smush it down a little. Okay, and then get rid of the extra threads. So there we go. That is our little altered book page and Blackout poetry. I really like how this one turned out. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the idea of doing the embossing on the blackout. I think that really added to it. So thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow for more Dephemerember. Bye for now.